What's going on YouTube? It's your man Azrael, the one coming at you. Hard at work at the computer screen. You know, it's a simple thing what people do during their livelihood, trying to earn a livelihood. Me, I'm learning how to program right now. I've been working on this for a while, learning different programming languages like Python, C, Java, JavaScript, that sort of thing. Right now, I'm just, excuse me, reviewing my notes and enjoying a healthy can of Monster while I'm doing it. But something was on my mind these last couple of days that kind of bothered me. And I'm going to probably stick this along with the previous video that I did not too long ago with my initial attack on the pro-blacks. And it's something that bothered me is that I noticed that there's a commonality between these so-called pro-blacks and this term I've coined called the deification of the black vagina. Let me explain. I start to see that generally, no matter what happens in this society, what happens in our culture, that a woman gets the pussy pass. That is to say, because she is a female, she is automatically exempt from any critique, some critical analysis, and of course, constructive criticism of her actions, her appearance, and her behavior. Because the stereotypical thing is that you will get told is, you hate women or you hate black women. You're a misogynist. You are, without a doubt, simply a bitter black man who was hurt by some black bimbo. What happens, black men, is that because you are so pussy motivated, that everything in your endeavors is never about this. It's about getting what's up her dress. You seemingly end up excusing the behavior of this black bitch for 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 30 seconds of wet pleasure. And then you get mad at brothers who simply sit there and tell it like it is. See, these pro-blacks love to go back to this African, and I use the term African in quotations here. They like to go back to this chematology, this African perspective and say, but we were a matrilineal society and we held women in esteem. Okay, let's go with that because I didn't actually do the complete research on it to say if that's true or is it not true. But I can clearly see if that's the case, and we point together to the last 50 fucking years, we can clearly see that matriarchy has not worked out for the black community. I mean, let's be realistic. If matriarchy worked out, someone explained to me why 82% of our children, one of mine included, were born out of wedlock. How can we explain that black women are dying of the number 3 cause of HIV/AIDS? That's a fact on the statistic list. I never said that was the number 1. I said it was the number 3 cause. Can we explain the prison pipeline? If black women were doing such a good job of running society as they did back then, way back when, you know, before the modern era, someone explain to me how this happens. But then they'll turn around and say, you hate a black woman because you won't listen to the bullshit that comes out of her mouth to justify the tomfoolery that she exemplifies. And then I'm not going to talk about these weak-ass, steamed-up buttermilk, sissified milk toast, chuckle-bucking Negroes that come to their defense. I'm not even going to touch that for a 10-foot pole because I think, honestly, if you examine their behavior for what it is, you can clearly see that they're under the thumb for what? Exactly. But this deification of the black vagina has become an essential part of our culture. Let's be realistic. I give you an example. This Amber Rose, Kardashian, Kanye West issue. It's funny how Kim Kardashian made a sex tape with her boyfriend that got leaked. And everybody attacked that woman for making a sex tape. Meanwhile, Amber Rose, who's been known for shaking her asses in places she shouldn't have been shaking her ass in, gets a pussy pass because she's got a little bit of black in her. And you see all the hoes come out in defense, and you even see some of these Negroes coming to her defense. That is Amber Rose. But nobody sat there and said, wait a minute, Amber Rose, you tried to swing low by talking about what this woman did in the privacy of her bedroom with the man she was seeing. All because you didn't like the comments of Kanye West. Which, by the way, I have never seen the commentary from Kim Kardashian to Amber Rose. And what you saw was these butthurt females and these buttermilk steamed up deep fried Negroes come to this so-called black woman's defense. This I'm going to use as a situational microcosm to explain what goes on in the Negro community every single fucking day of the week. The reality is the black man in this community deifies the black vagina because he knows no other way to defend himself against the man hate that goes on in his community. Let me unpack that for you. When a black woman basic defense to you calling out her bullshit, or she overloads you, she piles on the facts, she piles on a whole bunch of shit in order to shut you up, is because she holds over the fact that you want her vagina. And she knows that if she gives you her vagina, she knows that you're not shit anyway. So in giving you the vagina and taking care of you, she has power over you. And when she doesn't realize she cannot have power over you, she will do her very best to destroy you, to essentially make sure that she can continue the domination of her male counterpart. If you don't believe that's so, I invite you to go over to TRS and listen to a young sister named Renee. And I have nothing personal against this sister, but whenever you talk out against her talking points and you show the illogical pattern of her thinking, watch the ad hominems and the red herrings come out. But what I want you to watch further still, and this is again not me knocking the platform, this is me knocking individual people, watch how many men come to her defense and not actually check this sister or some of the things she says that doesn't make no goddamn sense. But I seemingly I'm going off on a fucking tangent here, so let me get back to my point. Here's my thing. Black men, you have allowed yourselves to be tamed. You have allowed yourselves to be destroyed because you have learned to deify something that should never have been deified. Here's the thing. I'm not saying black women are beneath you, but they damn sure ain't above you either. And all this chematology, all this Pan-African garble, this boondoggle, this horse shit, however you want to term it, has led your black ass into a position where your women dominate you. No other race in the world is ran by its women. And let's look at the dominant society. And let's be real, even the white liberal female, for all her attempts and all her charade and all this bullshit that she shoves down your fucking throat, trying to be your friend, notice that she's not running over her white man. You know why? Because that shit ain't gonna fly. But notice when you look into the black community, the black woman's vagina gets deified and bam, there you go. All common sense goes out the fucking window. And it doesn't make any goddamn sense. And what I'm trying to say here, ladies and gentlemen, is that because you have put the black woman on a pedestal, you have not allowed her to take her fair share of responsibility for fucking things up, for actually being a large part of the cause as to why her community is fucked up. You have not really begun to approach any real solution to your problem. Let me explain. When you can have black women running around wearing these fucking Davy Crockett coon caps, shout out to you, Tommy Sotomayor. When you have these black women running around wearing these, these filthy mats of hair and tearing up their skin, and they're all disproportionate and all kinds of shit, and they talk disgusting, they look disgusting, and they carry themselves with no sense of pride, and you allow that shit to go unchecked because what you want is between her legs, that nappy dugout that probably ain't been cleaned properly since she was a little girl. We have a problem here. We have a serious problem. See, the one thing I kind of grew up understanding was, men, you will never have money chasing women, but you will always have women chasing money. And see, I figured out why at the upper echelons, the brothers that make it usually end up dating other females outside their races, because 9 times out of 10, these chicks actually got it figured out. I mean, let's look at Kim Kardashian. This whole fucking fiasco with Amber Rose. I have not really heard one disparaging remark come out of Kim's mouth, but I've heard several come out of Amber Rose's mouth. I want you to stew on that for a second. The non-black woman acts very feminine, keeps her demeanor. The black woman is throwing somebody's business out in the street. Yeah, that totally works out. I don't know how you rationalize that, but all right. So whatever. This whole issue, by its deification, is that we don't really examine why we do this. I mean, I gave you one particular reason. The pro-blacks said, well, back in Africa, we were this. And let's be real, and this is a mislead. This is to show you how these pro-blacks fucking lie to you. Because yes, women had, in those societies, an important role. But you know who still ran the show? A man. Because a man was a chief of his tribe. They will point you to how in Egypt, line of succession was determined about who your mother was. Well, that's pretty simple. We can't always be sure who your daddy was. So instead of just saying, we go by your father, we'll go by your mother because we know who your mother is. I'm also pretty sure that's why the Egyptian royalty tended to intermarry amongst themselves to keep the line of succession relatively pure. Again, I'm not stating this as a historical fact. I'm stating this as a hypothesis. If you feel disagreeable to that notion, you know, you can put your comments down in the box below. Having said all that, here's where I stand. In order for this so-called black community to pull its ass out of its sling, you need to take this black bitch who you have put on a pedestal, who you have made exempt from all forms of scrutiny, and you need to tell her black ass, hey, I'm getting scrutinized down here, so what make you think your black ass ain't either? Stop deifying these women, period. A woman is no better than you because guess what? Yes, she carries a baby and she brings forth life to the world, but guess what, nigga? You put the seed in her. Without you, there can be no generation. As without her, there can be no generation. Without you, your children can't really be shit. There are some exceptions to that theory. I can name quite a few. There are a few exceptions to the rule. But the rule is generally, without a daddy, the kids usually grow up to be shit. That's a fact. So black man, and this goes for any man for that matter, stop deifying this black vagina. Because when you look into the news, when you look into social media, when you look out on the damn street, you're going to find that there's nothing godlike or queen-like about these females. Again, there are some exceptions to the rule, but they are the exceptions, not the rule.